New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
And now, here's Allie.
Hello and welcome to Growing Edge Live. I'm Allie Benjamin, and it's my great joy to be here every week interviewing amazing people, soul-centered individuals that are channeling their time, talent, energy, creativity, their resources into doing good work in the world and bringing people together in love and unity. And today I have an amazing couple of guests. Well, maybe there's more than a couple. You'll have to wait and see. Sheila and Marcus Gillette are my guests today, and I'm going to read a little bit about them, but you're going to get to know them in person. So Sheila Gillette. Sheila Gillette is a channel, pioneer, author, and spiritual mentor. Over the past 25 years, Sheila and Marcus have empowered and educated thousands of people worldwide through intimate conversations with THEO. Sheila has been a direct voice medium for THEO, a collective of 12 archangels, since her near-death experience in 1969. In partnership with Marcus, Sheila has been able to share THEO's wisdom with an ever-widening community, imparted upon them incredible messages that foster an enlightened state of consciousness. So welcome, Marcus. Welcome, THEO. Welcome, Sheila. Excuse me, to Growing Edge Live.
It's great to be here, Allie. Good to see you.
It's great to be here. It's nice to see you again, Allie.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. I was so excited thinking about this conversation and meeting THEO again. We met 5 years ago. I was just looking at my calendar and checking on the dates of that. So 5 years ago, around this time of year, we met at the Big Sky Retreat in Montana. And I was a member of the board there, and we had been so excited to have you come and present. And we had almost a whole week with you two and THEO, and several, I don't know how many people, 100 plus people were there enjoying the deep dive that they had with you and the introduction to not only THEO, but the work that the two of you have done and shared with us then and continue to share with the world. And what sticks out to me was the deep soul integration work that we did together as a group at the retreat. And Sheila, the time that you and I spent with THEO as you were supporting me as I had just lost my son Adam, and conversations about that were so comforting and so helpful to me. And we'll probably get into some of the things that I learned and how that really changed the course of not only my grieving, but finding my joy and my connection with my son moving forward in the work that I do. So thank you, Sheila.
Oh, it was my pleasure, for sure. And we did enjoy being in Montana, such a beautiful spot, Big Sky, Montana, and having that time together and the friendships that developed. And with you and Michael, your husband, we had such a good time.
Yeah, we did. I remember fondly going to the Bozeman hot springs and soaking.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of our favorite things to do is hot springs hopping.
Yeah, us too. So yeah, those are good memories. So I'd love to for everyone to get to know a little bit more about you. So many people already know about you and the work you and Marcus are doing and Theo. But there could be people in our community, in the New Thought Media Network community, that haven't met you or know about Theo. So can you share a little bit about you, Sheila, as a young one, and were there hints of this, the relationship you have with Theo that started decades ago, but was there any hints of that in your childhood? Were you raised in a family that was open to things of this nature?
Yes, I was a family that was open to psychic ability and belief in reincarnation and those things. But and I believe we all have intuitive gifts that are expressed in our lives. So I did have some interesting things as a child, prophetic dreams and things like that, but nothing to the extent of what happened to me after my near-death experience in 1969, which was the catalyst for my opening to be a direct voice trance medium for the 12 archangels known as THEO, as you reference THEO. And they speak directly through me. So you can imagine in 1969, these things weren't openly discussed. And it was quite an adventure opening and having many things happen to me spontaneously, quite profound experiences, and then trancing spontaneously and allowing this voice to speak through me that wasn't mine, which was a very interesting experience, to say the least. But as Theo came through and has given over 5 decades now information and guidance and transformational teachings that have changed my life and many others, and opened people to recognizing that, yes, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we all have intuitive gifts that we can expand and explore.
Yeah. I can only imagine. How old were you when you had the near death experience, and what was your life situation like at that time?
I had my near death experience after birthing my third child.
Mm.
I was 24 and I had pulmonary embolus, which are blood clots that go into your lungs and break the blood vessels in your lungs. So your lungs fill with fluid and you ultimately drowned. That's what pulmonary embolus does. And so I had just a small section of my right lung that I could breathe with. Both lungs were affected. And the doctors were preparing my family that I wasn't going to live through the day. So I was in intensive care. I had this brand new preemie baby because she came a month early. And I was saying, hey, God, give me a job. I will do anything, because I had 2 little kids at home and a brand new baby, and I wanted to be their mother. I wanted to stay on the planet for them. So I just kept repeating that, please give me a job, I'll do anything. And I was not on medications at all, because it would have interfered with anticoagulants that they were giving me. So I was very aware of what was happening. I was aware if I closed my eyes, I probably would not open them again. Mm. But then, as I kept repeating that request, the room, the cubicle in the intensive care, the little room I was in, became extremely bright, as if the sun had risen in the room itself. And I would kind of blinking back, that's how bright it was. And I saw a movement at the end of my bed. And when I looked, Jesus was standing at the end of my bed. Well, you can imagine at 24 years old, it was like, okay. But, as I'm talking to you about it, it's like it just happened. It's so emblazed in my memory. And I remember looking at his eyes. They were hazel green and so kind. And he took his arms and he folded them like this inside this garment that had big, deep sleeves. He did that. And when he did that, he smiled at me. When he smiled, I felt like the top of my head, my crown opened up, and this warmth started going down through my body inside. And I heard a distinct male voice in my inner mind hearing, as we hear our own thoughts, but it was a distinct male voice that said, "Remember, my child, you are loved." And as this warmth went down through the trunk of my body, I felt as if I could take a deep breath. And I started getting better. The doctors were amazed. So what I really know, I've worked with near-death experience researchers and stuff, and there's a criteria of experiences people have. I didn't have the tunnel, I had the bright light. So I know in the depth of my knowing that Jesus healed me. And then I got better, got out of the hospital, and about 6 months, as I was strong enough to hold the energy, all this psychic phenomena started happening in my life, externally and internally. And that's when I spontaneously, I first got messages as I heard Jesus. Then I could do automatic writing. And then I spontaneously, and this direct voice began speaking through me. And it just developed over time. And then when THEO came in, the first spokesman was Orlos, said I was being prepared for high teachers and that my physical body was being prepared. So energetically in the cells, to be able to match the frequencies of THEO, my body had to be worked on, apparently. And I could tell the different feelings I was having. And then when THEO came in, it was a powerhouse. And they said, we are 12 archangels, will be known collectively by the name THEO. And Orlo said to me, it's time to leave. The high teachers are here. So it was a huge transition. But I was prepared for about 2 years before THEO came in. Physically, I'll tell you what happened when they came in. They come in the right side of my body, take over my neck. The first time they came in, you know how your body feels when you hit your elbow and that tingling goes on? I felt that tingling in my whole upper body, my head, my face, and it was so uncomfortable. And I thought, man, if this is going to happen every time, I can't do this. It's too uncomfortable. But they said, no, your body will adjust to it. It'll be acclimatization on the cell level, which did happen. And there's been a few times over the decades I've been working with them that there's been a different shift energetically where they've worked on my body. But so it's been a journey for sure.
My goodness.
My whole life changed, as you can imagine.
I can't imagine being a young mother, having life and having all of the things that go on in the mundane world, and have this, blast your mind open experience, and how those two parts of your life mesh and go together. Because you have to sort of close the door to all of that and change the diapers and prepare the meals.
Yeah, I had all that going on. And interestingly enough, when THEO would come in and do a teaching, and at that time we were recording on those little cassette recorders. Remember those kind of little box things? that you punch the things. And I had a very good friend that would sit with me, and we would be getting information, and her children and my children were the same age. So I had this little, at this point, 2-year-old, which was the baby that was born. And she had a 3-year-old, and she'd come to my house, and we would be getting this teaching from THEO, and THEO would stop mid-sentence and say, "The little ones need attention." and then she go see what was going on with the babies and come back, and THEO would start their discussion. Next word. They didn't go, "Oh, where were we?" like we do as humans. They just go, "Next word," and they continue with their teaching. We were just blown away by many of these things that we experienced. But they knew there were babies, and they'd let us know if they needed something. It was an interesting time.
My goodness. So this went on for a period of time. And so how many years were you in that phase before you met Marcus?
25.
25 years. So how did THEO react when Marcus came on the scene?
THEO likes Marcus a lot.
Yeah, we have a good relationship.
I do.
Hallie. Yeah.
You know, Hallie, I always knew when this started happening that I was to have a partner. But, you know, I'd kind of given up on that after 25 years of not having one that would work with me. I went, okay. So many other things had come to fruition that I trusted that. And, you know, we often say we could not have met each other before that moment. Neither one of us would have been ready for the relationship that we have, because we didn't have a relationship to ourselves that we have now individually. And that's really the key to having a strong relationship. As you know, with Michael, you know, the moment you met, it couldn't have been before or after. I mean, it was like the perfect soul moment of meeting. And it, you know, it was just immediate. Immediate for me. Marcus took a minute, it took a step, took a moment. But I met him and I thought, uh-oh, this is bigger than both of us. You know, it just, there was that depth of no doubt.
I was a little slower on the uptake, maybe.
The fear of what if he doesn't get how important this is? But he did. And here we are.
So Marcus, Sheila said it took a moment. What was going on with you when you met this
what was happening?
woman?
So I had been given her first book, The Fifth Dimension, Channels to a New Reality, back in '95. And it was a great book and I loved it. And when I had the opportunity presented to me by a mutual friend of ours, Allie, from Santa Fe, who had moved to Scottsdale, where I was living, to meet Sheila, have a glass of wine with her before we went to see her the following night to channel THEO. I was like, yeah, I'd love to meet her. It'd be great, you know? And so I wasn't in that, I had no expectations of anything more than just having a really nice time visiting with someone who I really admired. And then she had an energetic experience. And I think that just because I was a fan of hers at the time, there wasn't any sort of notion that it would be more than that. But then we both realized, yeah, something was going on here. And so I had to shift out of being a fan into being a prospective mate, you know, so there's a little paradigm shift that took place there. But it didn't take long. It didn't take long. We both knew energetically, soulfully, you know, it was a connection that manifested in a way that I'd never experienced before in my life up until that point.
Beautiful. And how long have the two of you been together now?
27 years.
Oh, same as Michael and I, 27 years. Yeah, I remember that. So to go back a minute, so some people are hearing about THEO right now for the first time and just like mind blown, probably like, what is this? So have you ever landed on Theo's purpose for sharing guidance with you? Like, is this, I mean, there's so many questions about, why, what's the intention behind, for Theo, this group of 12?
Sure. Yeah, they've said the reason that they're here is the fifth dimension is now fully in place. They're here as mentors and teachers in this time, because in this time there's a tremendous consciousness shift. The old patterns that have been passed along for thousands of years, generationally, don't work anymore. And this is a time of great change in our consciousness and how we interact in the world, and how relationships are part of the process of change. Relationships are preferential now, not needy, out of that old paradigm. So they're here to teach us a new way of being, an expanded way of being, expanding the aperture of our perceptions rather than this myopic way we've lived for thousands of years.
So when you first met Theo 50 years ago, was it evident that, well, in 2024 or around 2020 or so, that will be the time that we're really going to jump in to this new dimension, or try and help people make this transition? So were you just building up to that for all the decades prior to this time?
Yes, for a short answer. The fifth dimension was in the process of development, let's say, of us developing in with it, and was completed by 2012.
Mm.
And at that time, and when my book, The Fifth Dimension, came out, they spoke in the last chapter about the time we're living in now, and how these changes would begin and what it would look like. And so we're living that right now, the changes of consciousness in us as individuals, but in the world as well. And even of this time of chaos, so that there would be this move in the way we view things, and even in the structures and foundations that we're living with in the world.
Has Theo ever shared what their view is on why humanity is here on Earth? Like, what our goal is?
It's an individual soul choice of each and every one of us to incarnate. We're not demanded, and that the earth is only one choice. There are billions of choices for a soul to make, and that there's a great experience of having a body, and the learning, and really boil down to is the learning and the acceptance of emotions and the understanding of them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, which they say is unique, Allie, to the human experience, the learning of emotions, the whole spectrum of emotions, including the uncomfortable ones, which we tend not to want to feel, as you know.
Mostly.
Yeah.
The good ones we take for granted, the other ones we try to avoid.
Yeah.
So I know this, we probably don't have the understanding or the language as humans. Where is Theo, and what does Theo do when Theo's not talking to Sheila? Like, so I know this is like really human kind of, ideas, physicality, and where are they and what are they doing? But
Sure.
like, is there any clarity on where Theo is, and what's Theo doing when he, she, it, they aren't speaking with Sheila?
What they speak to is they're omnipresent. So they're here to assist all of us. And what we found in our experience, Marcus and I, in our mentoring programs, it's so often we hear people say, I know Theo sent me here, or Theo showed up on my iPad in the middle of the night. So I know I looked for you guys. So they're saying, come, learn. You're more magnificent than you know. And they want us to see ourselves as they see us. And they see us as this bright light, divine essence. And so they're here to encourage us and to teach us how to see that in ourselves. What did they do? I mean, everything's vibration, everything's energy, and they're not in form as we are. So they're not limited in that, in space, distance, any of the time, all those things that in our human experience we experience as limitations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to take a very short break, and then we'll come back and we're going to have an opportunity to meet Theo and ask Theo a few questions. So we'll be right back. Marcus, Sheila, and everyone, see you in a minute.
Okay.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge. On the growing edge.
And now, here's Allie.
Hello, we're back, and we're back with Sheila and Marcus Gillette, and we are talking about channeling. We're talking about why Theo chose Sheila, and we're going to actually have a chance to meet Theo. So the two of you work together. I've seen you together on stage bringing Theo in, and there's a certain magic that you and Sheila and Marcus together create a wonderful atmosphere. And you do this together and have created a relationship with Theo. Can you talk a little bit about what it is you do, the three of you together, and how that's evolved over the course of your working together?
Oh,
I'm going to let you handle that one,
well,
Marcus.
it's so much fun. Allie, you've seen the joy we have when we're working together. It's so much fun. And, when I first met Theo, I had the experience of, I found my teachers, right? When we get to that point in our path where what we're hearing is truth. It's just been such clear wisdom that's come through Sheila. She's just the most impeccable vehicle for this information to come through her. And for me, I have to I have the best job on the planet. I get to talk to 12 archangels. I get to ask the questions, and a lot of them are big questions, and a lot of them are really important questions that that people want to know how to feel incredibly comfortable in their skin, and they want to have incredible relationships. And so when we work together, I typically start with, asking the questions that I think everybody would like to know the answers to. And then I assist others in facilitating their questioning as well, whether it be in our mentoring programs, live events. We've seen, because I'm so familiar with Theo, I can assist people in getting into a little deeper level of information. If they're hearing information that might not seem, because they're so engaged in the experience of talking to Theo, which in and of itself is extraordinary. Part of my job is to assist them in getting for them to be most clear in the messaging that's coming through. And it's just fun. And one of the things we've seen, Allie, and over the years, Theo has become rather funny too. They've developed a sense of humor, which they tell us that they're actually working on, which is amazing if you think about having never been embodied before, in physical. And I just want to comment on what Sheila said earlier about how they see us, because ultimately, at the end of the day, really, we are being taught by them to know and see ourselves as they know and see us, right? And they connect in through the vibrational frequency of our voice into the soul note that they call it. So each one of us has a unique vibrational frequency, which is the frequency of our voice. And in doing so, they're able to connect into the entirety of our soul. Some people call it the Akashic or records, or the Akasha, where they actually, this is how they know so much more about us than we appear to even know about ourselves, by virtue of making that connection. So we, as human beings right now, and this is why it's such an extraordinary time to be alive, we have the ability right now to raise the vibrational frequency of our humanness to match that of the vibrational frequency of our soul. And in that is a full remembrance of who we really are. And that who we really are is a vibrational frequency of unconditional love. So everything that we're doing, everything that we are teaching and facilitating is to assist people in knowing themselves at that level. And it is it's an unprecedented level of spiritual and psychic connection, but it's also a level of loving the self at a deeper level than ever before. And that just affects every single thing that happens in our lives, whether it be all of our relationships, connecting into our spiritual and psychic abilities, magic and miracles becoming very ordinary, or I wouldn't say ever ordinary. The extraordinary is becoming our new ordinary, as it just said on our website that Michael put up there. But it's just a super fun job to be able to facilitate transformation and awareness that's coming through Sheila for those that are asking the questions.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I noticed we have a question that's popped up, and I think I'd like to address Theo with this question. From Alex. She says, I had an NDE when I was 16. I'm wondering, does Theo pick and choose who they will communicate through, or does it depend on where you are at spiritually to have the ability to hear them? So there we go. That might be a good question to start with Theo. Are you open to sharing Theo with us today, Sheila?
I am, and it takes just a moment for me to invite them in and for them to be present. So here we go. Get comfortable in my chair. It is the beginning, is it not?
It is. Welcome, Theo.
We are appreciative of the opportunity to serve. You may ask.
Yes, I have a question from someone, and they're wondering, does Theo pick and choose who they will communicate through, or does it depend on where they are at spiritually to have the ability to hear them?
We work with all whom ask. However, we speak directly through this trailer from where we are speaking now by agreement to speak in this form directly. However, in the asking it is given, and if one asks of us, we will respond.
Beautiful. So it's in the asking. It doesn't necessarily, people aren't chosen before they incarnate. It's actually in the asking that wisdom will be shared.
Yes, and it's not just by us. We are 12 archangelic messengers, mentors, if you would. But there are legions of angels. Each and every being has angelic presence around them to assist them. Some speak of guardian angels. Yes, that is true. But there's also mentors and guides. So in the asking, it is given unto you, as you then are open and receptive in the asking for the answers to come.
Beautiful. So can you share with us the important work that you're doing as far as soul integration works? Can you explain the importance of that now during this important time on our planet?
So the soul integrational process that we have been teaching for many decades now is a process of releasing, understanding the limiting beliefs that create the patterns of discomfort in your life. That they are beliefs that are held, that one adopted or created in a moment of challenge, but those beliefs can be changed. And what the integrational process allows is a recognition of that growth, of rewriting the script. Events or challenges won't change. That's the curriculum of life, and that's history. But the belief that one adopts about the self of not being enough, not being worthy, are beliefs that can be changed in the sense of recognizing who you are and coming forward from the event or challenge or story, some speak of, into the present moment, identifying who inside of you, we call them little aspects of the soul that fragmented in those challenges and are frozen in that moment as the truth of your being. When the adult you communicates and loves them forward in the integrative process. If all beings on your planet would integrate, change those belief systems that have been passed along for thousands of years, generational patterning, many call it, the entire world will change and the interactions in it. You would have peace.
I'm thinking about the times that we're in currently, there seems to be a lot of division, especially here in the United States, around the world, but we're here in the United States, and it seems that it's a difficult time for us to feel safe and to maybe stay in a place of being at peace with ourselves when everything around us seems to be changing, adjusting, and the things that are coming up that are causing these divisions have people's emotions really intense. Is there something that we can do when we're faced with people that have beliefs and opinions so different from ours, and we may feel that they're not on the right track and we're on the right track, and they think they're on the right track and we're on the wrong track? And how do we find peace within ourselves during this turmoil that's going on around the planet?
Firstly, we would say the reflection of what's happening on your planet is from the inside out. It's the inner conflict of the individuals, the humans, that are being reflected in the world atmospherically. So that's why we brought forth the integrational process, because peace within will bring peace externally. So you're just seeing the chaos in the individuals expressed. However, when saying this, there needs to be the chaos for change to occur. That which has been hidden or under the surface has risen to the surface to be seen, so that in individual ways you can change and understand the self better and change those belief systems of not enough, not worthy in your individuals, that then they're not subjugated to the opinions of others any longer. One can make the choice through that solid state of unconditional love of self and allow that love of others to come forward. So this dissatisfaction had to surface, and it's global, it's not just in the United States. As this is being done, all of this is being seen, it's when the foundational structures will be changed. It's not the politicians that change, but politics will change in the process. And it is the arts and sciences that will be the leaders. The gifts of awareness and creativity and expansion and innovation, and the shift of consciousness on the inner for each and every individual, in the recognition that you are spiritual beings having a human experience and letting go of judgments of others, because you let go of the judgment of the self, and that you see through the lens of compassion and empathy.
Beautiful. I'd like to ask Marcus if you have a question for Theo. You're so accustomed to asking Theo questions.
Yeah, and I think this is such a great topic too, Allie. Theo, you've been talking about soul-centeredness, and I'd like you to talk a little more about moving into the state of being in which we are feeling so centered in ourselves and our soul, so connected, that to Allie's question about reactivity to external circumstances, I mean, we can be in that state of being without having to be reactive at all to anything happening externally. I'd like you to talk a little more about that, please.
Understand this: the part of self that is reactive is not the adult. It is these little fragmented aspects of self that become fearful and react in certain stimulus, react to the outer world from the emotional body. And in the integrative process, what you learn is to calm reaction, to calm those parts of self that are the reactors. You love them forward so that when there is challenge, you have the confidence in knowing non-reactive to responsive, which is a much calmer place to be. And the ability to see the truth in whatever is occurring rather than perceived fear of what if something terrible will happen. You can then move into what if something good is happening from whatever challenge might be. Challenge is just the curriculum of life, of change, of consciousness. That is a gift you give yourself.
If I may ask a follow-up, Allie, if you would just share with us, Theo, then how to convert judgment into compassion. So as we are finding ourselves judging others for their beliefs or their actions, how do we move into compassion and out of judgment?
So as you become aware that each of you react from the emotional body, parts of self that have not fully matured, are still stuck in life experiences that have informed them into their default system of fright, flight, fear, and judgment. As you do the integration, you become more observatory. And observation is neutral. You can tell if you're in judgment, there's something in what you are judging that's inside of you. When you begin to reflect on that, you can love that part of self forward. For God is a solid state of unconditional love, and the God of you is a solid state of unconditional love. And it is the remembrance of this that is occurring now. To each and every one of you, this is the time you've incarnated for. You may ask.
Marcus, do you have any?
I do have one follow-up. Yeah, Allie, thank you. Theo, you've mentioned so many times to us, you've guided us to ask, what would love do in any circumstance? What would love do, in your opinion?
More love. Not judgment. It's observing that most of chaos comes out of fear. So what does fear need? More love, doesn't it? And that transforms. And that seems very general. And it appears to be general because each experience has its own velocity and energy, yes? But each thing can be resolved with love, not judgment or fear. Fear and faith ask the same of you, to believe in something that is yet unseen. So we encourage faith with love. You may ask.
Thank you, Theo, for being with us today and sharing your message of love and integration. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye to you for today?
You are all worthy of a life well lived, of the life you wish to live and to experience. There's no limitation. It is only in thought.
Thank
We
you.
are complete. God's love unto you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Bye-bye. Welcome back, Sheila.
Thanks, Sally. Hi, Marcus. It's good to
Sheila.
be with you again.
Welcome back. Yeah.
Thank you.
That was a beautiful message, and it seems so simple and so basic that we all know this, but yet we get so distracted in our own heads and our own opinions and our own reactive natures. And this message of finding that place of love and asking what would love do here, I think is really powerful, as each of us, tend to our lives, our families, look out at the bigger world and see what's happening. So thank you, and thank THEO. And I'd love to end on what you have coming up. I know you've got an amazing opportunity that you're doing, and opening up an invitation to people to join you. Can you share a little bit more about that and how people can work with you and Marcus and THEO?
Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, I was just going to, I love Michael putting this up. So tomorrow, interesting timing here, Allie. Your Time to Thrive is a complimentary webinar we're doing for our community. So for everybody that is listening to this, if you guys go to asktheo.com and you put your name and email address in, we'll be sending you some really, really cool free experiences, THEO experiences, and guided meditations and so forth. Tomorrow, it's Your Time to Thrive is a complimentary Ask THEO Live webinar. You'll get a chance to meet THEO live as Sheila channeled here, but it's going to be talking about a 12-week program starting on August 6th, which is 12 90-minute live sessions with us and THEO called Thrive, the Soul Integration Experience. And in this live 12-week program, it's a life-changing, transformative program in which the touch that we just touched on today with regards to the soul integration process. Now we're going to go into a much, much deeper dive into who we really are, and assisting everybody to remember who we are and to raise our vibrational frequency in a way that everything can change in our lives. Relationships become much more soulfully connected. We get really good at establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries. Our health can improve. Our psychic and spiritual connection can improve. We can collapse time frames as it relates to manifesting and creating a life we'd love to live, and assisting us in removing or transforming, rather, all of those limiting beliefs that have been holding us back or creating fear or resistance. It's remarkable what we get done over a 12-week period. And a global family, soul family, as THEO calls it, Allie, coming together in a way that's so beautiful. The tapestry, the global tapestry that gets woven in these programs. We have lots of opportunities to connect. We have a private online forum. We've got breakout groups. We have all kinds of wonderful friendships and collaborations even that are created in these programs. So that's coming up starting August 6th. And tomorrow is a free, Tuesday, the 23rd, is a complimentary webinar that's going to talk about that. And you'll get a chance to meet THEO as well.
Well, it's perfect timing.
It is perfect timing, as always.
As always.
Yeah,
well,
really good.
I'd love to say thank you, and I am saying thank you to both of you and to THEO for being here today and sharing your message of love and unity. I usually end each program with a question, but you've already answered it. And the question is, we all know the song, What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. What else does the world need now? So do you have any more to add?
Compassion. For ourselves
Humor.
and each other.
Humor.
Yes.
Humor and compassion.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for being here today. I know that your messages have touched people's souls. Alex is saying thank you, powerful info. And thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Marcus. And we'll see you in the future. And thank you, everyone, for being here this week. And it's been such a joy to connect and to go deep and to be reminded that we have it all right here. It's our power to love and come from love. So thank you again. Peace and blessings to you wherever you are. And I'll see you next week. Mwah. Bye-bye. Lots of love.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth, to live a conscious life, to live a conscious conscious life on the growing edge.